American high school sports, some of the most exciting events that occur during your high school years. Through the spectator's eyes, it's a great use for entertainment. And through the point of view for very motivated athletes, it's everything to them. Throughout the history of American high school sports, it has always been very common for star athletes to play multiple sports, rather than just the sports they're best at. NFL players like Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, and Russell Wilson not only played football, but also specialized in different sports like baseball. Even the two GOATs of basketball, LeBron James and Michael Jordan, played football, baseball, and even golf. But in recent years, high schools are experiencing a gradual decline of multi-sport athletes and are seeing and witnessing the rise of athletes specializing in single sports. But why? Why has it come to this? When many statistics show such a big gap between the amount of multiple sport athletes in professional sports compared to the number of professional athletes who only played one. What are the benefits of each side? These are some of the questions that we plan to answer for you today.
Single sport athletes are the new biggest thing in athletics. High schools have seen a drastic increase in single sport athletes in the recent years, so we talked to some athletes to see how they feel about it. According to the statistics, it's actually proven that athletes who participate in multiple sports have a higher percentage of making it to the pros, and that college recruiters favor many multi-sport athletes. So why do some still choose to only participate in one sport?
I think so, yeah, because even though I'm playing one sport, I might put one focus to that one sport than they are these multiple sports, because, like, you know, how can you really be good at multiple sports if you're not putting on, like, time in the off season? Like me, I'm putting on time in the off season for basketball, and that's just my one sport for right now. And, you know, there's no time for multi-sports to be good at all of them because they, like, collide with each other, like, schedule-wise. But I feel like it's possible, but just to answer the question, I think so, yeah.
Even though stats do show that it's more likely to go pro when you play multiple sports, I choose to play one just because that's where my interest lies. And it's harder to try to focus on multiple ones, and I prefer just to focus on soccer.
You know, there's advantages and disadvantages to that. Like, you know, and it has a lot to do with your height, weight, and things of that nature. I mean, like, for the average players, I think that percent is a little different. And, you know, for me personally, I think I might be above average for my one sport than some people are there too.
Some athletes reference the fact why they only play one sport benefits their health to keeping themselves healthy and avoiding injury risk. But it's actually known that 75% of people with multiple injuries only play one sport. Knowing this and the pro percentages for multi-sport athletes, we asked these single sport players if this changes their mind and makes them rethink their decision to only play one sport.
I don't think that's true at all. I think it's all about, like, the work you put in outside and inside of the sport. It's all about your work ethic, and you can easily prevent injuries from, like, only playing one sport. It's just how you treat your body, how you work your body, how you maintain all your, like, eating habits, your workout plan, all that, etc. But going pro, that all just depends how much work you want to put into your sport. Like, if you slack off, if you like miss a day, that's another day lost for, like, getting scouted, getting scholarships to go play in college, getting drafted out of high school. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't agree with anything about that.
Sports has been around for thousands of years, with sports like track, football, tennis, basketball, soccer, and many more. And I can go on forever. Many athletes can't choose to play one sport, so they play multiple. But I, like many others, had the question on how and why do they play multiple sports. I've gathered many questions and have traveled all across the district for some answers. One of the big questions we always have is, why do athletes play multiple sports?
I play multiple sports because growing up, I couldn't decide what sport I wanted to play, so I just tried them all.
I play multiple sports because I'm competitive. I love to compete, and I just love to just always stay in shape.
I play multiple sports because my second sport keeps me in shape for my first one. I think is more important to me, and it gives me two different types of teammates that I like to make friends.
I play multiple sports, so I have the best chance to go to college, and I just enjoy playing all the sports that I do play.
One of the big reasons why people play multiple sports is because of college.
I think college coaches could see me as a better player because I do multiple sports, but mostly see me as a better teammate and willing to try new things, which I think is good, especially in soccer, which I play. You want to be able to do multiple positions and be okay with changing and doing whatever the coach wants you to do. Which I think multiple, you're used to that change in pace, which I think college coaches.
Yeah, I feel like me playing multiple sports, it gives me an edge when college coaches are looking at me because they see I'm working hard in everything that I'm doing.
Most college coaches like their athletes to play multiple sports, especially in football. They would like all of their players to have some experience in wrestling because it really helps them become better tacklers on the field. It helps them mentally because, you know, wrestling is it's more mental than physical in wrestling, so it really helps them a lot.
I do think that because I've always been told that college coaches like players that play more sports and multiple sports. So I do think that they do look at me differently.
Does playing multiple sports really make you better at your main sport?
Playing multiple sports makes me better at my main sport or more sports in general because it gives me different tools and different things to work on each time. Like I play soccer and it's mostly long distance running, and then I play basketball, which is a lot of short sprints. So I get better at these short sprints that I can take into soccer and I can be faster.
I feel like playing multiple sports helps me improve in each sport do I play, like how football helps me in basketball and basketball helps me in track and etc. I feel like the benefits of being a multi-sport athlete is that I'm always working, and when I'm working on the other sports during other seasons, that I'm still improving for the seasons that are coming up.
The benefits of playing multiple sports, I would say it keeps you in shape all year round, so you don't have to worry about like unnecessary injuries happening when you get into your main sport. It also aids you in becoming, you know, more physically capable of doing more things. Like wrestling allows you to be more flexible. It can keep you in positions that you may not be comfortable in longer and more efficiently. So those are most of the benefits.
Thank you.
Definitely, I do think playing multiple sports help you with sports because like you can use what you learn from football and basketball, what you learn from basketball, football, and also like they hold like different like let me say like you can get strength from football and use that on the court, and then you can use your the speed that you learn from basketball and use that on the field.
Multiple sports definitely put strain on your body, especially with the different kinds of activity you're doing. And especially because I play club and school sports, I have soccer and basketball going on at the same time, and I'll leave basketball that is full of sprinting and then go to soccer and do all this long distance running, and every muscle in my legs hurt. But it's definitely worth it, and it only is like 2 or 3 weeks of like bad like strain and bad issues, but then I think it makes you a better athlete. So I think it's fun.
Many athletes play one sport, but does playing multiple sports really make you feel prepared?
I mean, if you enjoy playing that one sport, it's okay. But me personally, I feel like playing these other sports helps you be better at your one sport.
I feel like playing multiple sports not only helps me physically in my other sports, like wrestling can help you be a better football player, but also feel like playing multiple sports can help you mentally as well and build a stronger mentality going into your main sport.
I do always suggest playing multiple sports to players that play like one sport. Like I got a teammate, Miguel Ortega. I always tell him to run track or play football or something like that. So I do think it's better, but honestly, if you play one sport, if you excel at that sport, that's you.
I'm Abigail Mejia, and today we are looking at multi-sport athletes, specifically how the coaches feel about them.
Some athletes believe playing more than one sport drives them further, while others believe another sport is just another distraction. Coaches that we talked with came down on various sides of the issue.
It's an important part of building
winning cultures and winning teams. When you've got your best athletes from the football team playing basketball and the best athletes from the basketball team playing football or baseball or track, it allows all programs to share some of the elite athletes in the building. And on top of that, it helps fight burnout from athletes, and so athletes get to experience how to compete across different playing fields. It's hard to say one way or the other. There's plenty of great athletes that have succeeded playing only one sport. But I mean, if you check, statistics of the NFL draft, of the, top 32 players that are drafted every year, it shows that 80% of them are going to be multi-sport athletes year in and year out. It's okay to fail. It's okay to not be the best. It's okay to make mistakes in general. And when more players quit worrying about being the best and just learning to compete, I think Truman will thrive because of it, and men and women both will learn to deal with adversity.
How do you feel about athletes that do multiple sports?
I feel like when athletes play multiple sports, that helps them with disciplines and responsibilities, and I think it is and should always be encouraged.
Do you see any difference in injury between athletes who play multiple sports versus those who don't?
Yeah, I think playing multiple sports definitely gets you a little more injury prone, but that's just where you have to practice good movement and mechanics, and you should be able to avoid that.
What's the difference you see between multi-sport athletes versus athletes who only play one?
I think multi-sport athletes have a little bit better attention in school. They have more motivation to keep their grades together. I also think they really respect those two different sports, and it helps them in that discipline.
Do you think those who focus only on one sport succeed better?
I think that just really depends on the athlete and on the student. I think if you're a one-sport athlete and you put your all into that, there's nothing wrong with it, but I think the two-sport definitely helps.
What advice would you give athletes looking to do multiple sports?
I would just make sure you're really dedicated and have the schedule to do so. So I would never recommend playing more than one sport if you think it's going to overwhelm you, your academics, or your schedule. Woo! Cool.
Many coaches are ambitious, believing their student athletes can pursue anything they want. Some coaches believe those who play multiple sports can handle injuries better, but also, funny enough, reduces injury more. As many football coaches believe, it's a sign of strength to play more than one sport. It seems that doing multiple sports is only beneficial. Here's what Coach Stowell had to say on the topic.
I think like a lot of people in my position, I think having student athletes do multiple sports is only going to be a benefit. I think the first thing that comes to a lot of people's minds is time, but I think this is the best time in your life to be able to do multiple things. I understand kids sometimes have to help out at home, depending on their family situation, but if you have the means, I think playing multiple sports is only going to benefit you in the long run as a student athlete. It's going to teach you time management. It's also going to expose you and your body to a wide range of movements that'll actually help you be healthier. It'll help you avoid injury quicker, or more efficiently, I should say. And honestly, I think the more people we have involved in our different athletics programs and activities, the more it affects our school culture. I think when everyone has their own thing, it's easy to be selfish, but when everybody's thing is shared and everybody's doing it together, and there's more people.
Do you see any difference in injury between athletes who play multiple sports versus those who don't?
Honestly, until I got here, I hadn't really witnessed it a whole lot. It was one of those things where you always hear that single sport athletes are more prone to injury, but it was nothing I had ever had experience with firsthand. At least off the top of my head, I'm sure there's something in my 10 years. But this year, these last couple of years, I have seen a uptick in guys that are primarily single sport athletes getting injured at a higher rate than other guys, for sure.
What's the difference you see between multi-sport athletes versus those who only play one sport?
Like I hinted at earlier, I think by playing multiple sports, it exposes your bodies to different forces and different movement patterns that eventually your body gets acclimated to. So that way, if you get put in a detrimental position in your sport, you're less likely to get injured. That's the theory behind it. And yes, it usually does play out to be true, but things happen. There's multiple sport athletes that get injured too as well. There's accidents happen, and that's why they're called accidents. So.
Do you
Honestly, I think it depends on what your definition of succeed is. I think if it means that I'm healthy enough to maximize my potential, I would say yes, especially in the last couple of years, especially being here, seeing some of the guys that have gotten injured and knowing that they're only single sport athletes. I think by being a multiple sport athlete, it reduces your risk for injury, therefore gives you the best chance to be successful and to reach your potential. So in a long way, yes, I do.
What advice would you give athletes looking to do multiple sports?
Just don't be scared. I think a lot of times in today's day and age, people are, I don't know, it's the information age, it's the social media age. Everybody cares way too much about what other people think, and you see it with basketball season because basketball is one of those sports that has to cut. Football, we don't really have that. I wouldn't call it a luxury, but we don't. It's not a necessity for us to cut. So basically, you come out for football, you're out. At that juncture, you then determine: are you a starter? You know, if you're not a starter, how much are you playing? Because if you're playing on the lower end, you're probably a JV, C-level kid, and that just kind of shakes itself out. You know, with basketball, they kind of let you know right away if you're varsity, JV, C, and there's an abundance of kids that will kind of quit or look down on being a JV or C player. And I don't know where that stems. I don't know if that's I don't want to be known as a JV kid, or is that more of a sense of entitlement issue? I'm not sure, but I would just say don't be scared. Try as many things as you can. And honestly, playing sports at your age, there should really only be two reasons. You know, you're using it as a vehicle to better your situation, to try to get your college degree paid for, or you're doing it for fun because you love the sport, you love your teammates, those types of things. If you're doing it for any other reason, off the top of my head, I just can't think of any other valid reason to play other than loving your sport, loving your teammates, and trying to better your situation.
Sport athletes aren't unheard of. In fact, some of the greatest athletes played in many different fields. Think of Bo Jackson or Jim Thorpe. One thing they both had in common is that they had a motivation and believed in themselves to do more than one sport. Dr. McCutcheon shared some important knowledge on the topic.
Do you see any difference in injury between athletes who play multiple sports versus those who don't?
Yeah, I think you definitely do. So, you know, a baseball pitcher might be a real easy example. So if you're a guy who pitches or a girl throws softball, pitches for softball, you're just using the same motion over and over again. You put a ton of strain on those ligaments, muscles, tendons, and I think you're more apt to see an injury there. So if you are a kid that just plays one sport, that's okay. I would just suggest that you make sure that at some point you're kind of shutting yourself down. It could be for a month or two just to allow your body to recuperate.
What's the difference you see between multi-sport athletes versus those who only?
Well, I kind of think it makes you a more rounded, well-rounded athlete. So I always think about when I was in high school, I played football and basketball, and you know, at the end of the football season, I thought I was in really great shape, and then that first basketball practice would come around, and I realized I wasn't in basketball shape. It's a lot different, and so you know, I was maybe stronger from having played football and could take that into the basketball season with me. And then I got into better shape. I was quicker during basketball season, which then also in turn helped me in track and then playing baseball in the summer. So I think there's a lot of benefits if you do both or do more than one sport.
Do you think those who focus only on one sport succeed better?
I mean, you can for sure. I mean, that is the other side of the argument, I would say, is if you're a one-sport athlete, it gives you the opportunity to focus on that one sport, really hone your craft. If you're a volleyball player and you play volleyball year-round, I'm sure you're going to improve versus somebody who just plays, you know, maybe a month or two out of the year. So I think that's the other side of the argument. You could potentially see some benefit from doing that.
What advice would you give athletes looking to do multiple sports?
Well, just find stuff that you enjoy doing. So I wouldn't necessarily do multiple sports just for the sake of doing it, but don't limit yourself. You know, high school, most of us will only play high school athletics. Some of us will get to play college, and very, very few people will become professional athletes. And so it might be the only time in your life that you get to play basketball competitively, or you get to play golf competitively, or tennis, or whatever it may be. So find what you enjoy doing and have fun doing it.
At one school, doing multiple sports is a heavily important part of being an athlete here. The coach claims almost every athlete is doing more than one sport, which is astonishing to see. Here's what he had to say. At one school, doing multiple sports is a heavily important part of being an athlete here. The coach claims almost every athlete is doing more than one sport, which is astonishing to see. Here's what he had to say.
How do you feel about athletes that do multiple sports?
At Van Horn High School, we're a small city school with about 1,000 kids, so multi-sport athletes are key to everything that we do. We have 2 and 3 sport athletes on almost all of our teams, and it's really necessary at a smaller school that kids are involved in a lot of different things.
Do you see any differences in injuries between athletes who play multiple sports versus those who don't?
No. I would only say this. Our athletes who are active, whether you're multi-sport or a single sport athlete that's active all year round, you're going to have a lot fewer injuries than the athletes who are only playing their sport. They don't do off-season work. They don't do the strength conditioning aspect of the sport in the off-season. When they come in and they just try to play in their season, we usually see more injuries with those kids.
Yeah, try to pick up where they look off.
What's the difference you see between multi-sport athletes versus athletes who only play one sport? And that could be like on the court or...
You know, we have a lot of great kids who are single sport athletes. Typically they're in the high technique sports, baseball, soccer, basketball. They tend to play their club sport year round, and then they come and play for us during the season. And I respect that you're trying to perfect your craft. But I'm really looking for kids who are willing to help Van Horn and helping any school by playing in multiple sports. It's always nice to have a secondary sport. I have two young boys. They both each play 3 sports year round. I think multi-sport model is the way to go. Keeps kids busy, and I think it's great to take a break from your primary sport and go do something else. I don't think you can grow quickly in a sport by playing it year round. I think you hit plateaus, and I think you need time off to really learn.
And then last question, what advice would you give athletes looking to try multiple sports?
What I would say is this, whenever you're doing anything new in life, whether it's a sport or trying something you're uncomfortable with, you need to give it 3 or 4 weeks until it becomes something that you're okay with. And that's a life lesson, not just with playing sports. Go out, meet new people, get uncomfortable, try a sport that maybe you're not the best at. But if you are a good athlete and if you're a high quality person, the transition is going to be easy. Thanks, gentlemen.
What we can take from the various interviews from all perspectives, there's really no one way to be an athlete. Some choose to specialize in one sport while some play any sport they can. Although studies lean to the side of being a multi-sport athlete to be the way to go, we've learned that both sides can showcase benefits. Hopefully today's show allowed you to see the reasoning behind the choices that athletes and coaches make when it comes to playing sports. ISD Insiders will continue covering the entire spectrum of sports next semester. Until next time.